I want to play a game called Do We Care? I'm going to start with LeBron James, who hijacked All-Star Weekend because the Lakers are 27-31. Hijacking. Full-fledged hijacking. Went back to Cleveland. The hometown thing should have been enough, but no. We got a lot of Lakers stuff. What's going on? Are they going to help him? He's disappointed they didn't get him more assets. I just want to point out that LeBron got them to basically trade every asset they have for Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. They had no assets left. We're talking about a 2027 first-round pick. So for him to be mad about that seems super hypocritical to me. More importantly, he's talking about going back to Cleveland potentially. Who knows what'll happen? Wilds, do we care? Do we care if 40-year-old LeBron goes back to Cleveland?
Yes, I care about everything LeBron. And you said he hijacked All-Star Weekend.
He did. It was a hijacking.
No. And I thought the gravitational pull of LeBron has never been stronger. And you just scratched the surface. So I wrote them down. He talked about playing with Bronny, which was also just like, I'm not retiring a Laker. So he checked that one off. Yeah. He broke back his old, by the way, I'm better than Michael Jordan. Once I came back from 3-1, he broke that one out. Maybe I'll go back to Cleveland. I was all for that, even though he actually already did it. He's like, well, it's a storybook ending, but maybe I'll do it again. That worked. And then he hit the game-winning shot. Yes. And broke out the satchel. You're acting like wearing like a liquor satchel is not major news. Broke out the satchel. So yes, for me, we did the whole show on Monday just about LeBron, and we didn't even really get into the Pelinka stuff. And I was complimenting all the GMs. I care in a major way. And I want to take this opportunity, Jacoby, to thank LeBron James for providing us with endless content. He could have just done one or two things and the satchel. He did 6 things for content for First Things First, and I tip my cap to him.
But don't forget this, Wilds. One key point. Just earlier in the week, like last Wednesday, it was Rich Paul, not LeBron, who said, oh, by the way, LeBron's journey has been much tougher than Michael Jordan's. Yeah. Which I like. That one is underreported. I love that so much. And I want someone who rides for me the way Rich Paul rides for LeBron. That is another favorite of mine. But I do want to say before I dive into the weekend, that Bill, is it possible that as a diehard Celtics fan who had playoff series against LeBron early in his career, is it possible? This is just a question. Is it possible that maybe consciously or unconsciously you're maybe a little bit biased against LeBron James? I'm not saying you are. I'm just asking you to look in the mirror and ask if you are.
Great question. I've written a lot of really good stuff over the years about LeBron. Here's where I stand with the LeBron thing. The Lakers are 27-31, and I just think there were better stories than us talking about LeBron again all weekend. And I do think that they head into these weekends thinking like, what's our plan? What do we want to accomplish? How do we get the most attention this weekend? And they did it. It worked out perfectly. He dropped the Bronny card. By the way,
great.
Bronny's the 4th best player on Sierra Canyon. Like, I do think he has a chance to be in the NBA, but I don't think it's going to be after his freshman year. I think that would be, he'd really have to make a jump, I think, as a prospect. So, every year that he has to stay in college to improve his chances to be in the NBA, LeBron's going to be a year older. So just like, I don't think it's a slam dunk they play together, personally. But I do think he looked at the weekend as, how do I bring the attention back to me? Because my team is 4 games under 500, and we're going to be in the play-in tournament, and we might not even make the actual playoffs. So how do I grab this weekend by the balls, which is what he did.
Yeah, you know what was the best part of it, Bill? Chris Paul out for 8 weeks because he's hurt. He's like, by the way, I'm gonna get a few minutes in the All-Star game. We didn't even talk about it. Wasn't even a real story.
He score.
He's out for 8 weeks. Like, let me get some run. Let me get a little run. Like, nope. Still interested in what's going to happen to LeBron in 3 years.
Got mad at Rudy Gobert. He got mad at Rudy Gobert trying to set a pick on him. He's like, what the hell, dude? I have an itching hand. It's like, why are you out here?
You're in the game.
You're playing basketball. We're not allowed to touch you.
I loved it.
My favorite aspect of the various angles of hijacking that Wiles detailed was that LeBron's upset that they didn't trade Westbrook for, Westbrook and the first for John Wall. And I'm like, wait a second. When was the last time I saw John Wall play basketball? Like literally this unknown asset that is John Wall. It's like, oh yeah, he's upset because they didn't trade Russell Westbrook for John Wall. If you're Russell Westbrook and you hear that report, how do you feel about your teammate for the rest of this season, LeBron James?
Well, and you left out the part that LeBron James pushed for the Russell Westbrook trade. It's the lack of accountability that is amazing to me. Like, if let's say I was finishing a basement in my house, and my wife was like, instead of like the state of the art theater you want to put down there and whatever else, I want to make the whole basement a wine cellar.
No,
and that's what I want to do. And we're doing that, and that's it. And I'm like, but we just spent all this money in the basement. No, we're going to do a wine cellar, and it's going to cover the whole basement. And then we spent 2 years building the wine cellar. And then she goes, we don't have enough money to buy the bottles for the wine cellar. I'm getting divorced unless you figure this out. And you're standing there going, wait a second.
I love it though.
You're the one who wanted to build the wine cellar. And you used all of our resources to build the wine cellar. Now I need more money for the bottles for the wine cellar. This is basically what he did with Anthony Davis. Like, they wanted Anthony Davis so badly. They're just throwing picks in. They paid, I would say, 130 cents in the dollar. And after they won the title in 2020, it seemed like it made sense. But now it doesn't make sense. And now it's like all the stuff they gave up for him. And then the rest of the assets, they go all in on Westbrook. And that was my issue. Where did you guys stand on the Westbrook trade when it actually happened? Did you like it? Be honest, Jacoby. There's video. Did you like it or you not like it?
I liked it because I like drama. I like stars. And I was looking at the roster being like, listen, because remember, let's not be biased about this. Remember the Wizards' Russell Westbrook at the end of the season last year?
Right. That's good.
Like, he was playing really well. He was dragging that team to wins. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I like Malik Monk. Like, that could kind of work. And healthy Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook, they're not going to be number one seed and like tear through the regular season. But in the playoffs, in a 7-game series, when it really drills down to ISOs and slowing the game down and overcoaching, that to me is a team that's going to win a 7-game series against every other team in the West. That is how I felt before the season started. Do I feel that way now?
Before you watched
Absolutely
it.
not. Yeah, now that I've seen it and I've experienced this, I actually held on to this like until Thanksgiving too. I was like, oh yeah, when AD comes back, he'll be fine, and they're going to work it out. They're working out the kinks. I'm way off the boat. Wilds,
You're still there, Wilds?
I'm out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm out. I'm all the way out. LeBron is out. How are you not out? LeBron is out.
Puncher's chance. Puncher's chance. That's all I'm saying. Puncher's chance. I just don't think if they get in the play-in and the Lakers have to play the Suns, I don't think Monty Williams and the Suns are like, yes, we've got the Lakers. I think they still have a puncher's chance. And in a weird way, I think that this is a hot take I got. I pulled this from the hot take lava chamber. I was like, Anthony Davis, super durable. It's a hot take, don't get me wrong. Injured often, but guess what? Always comes back. He always comes back. So I was like, you know what? He's gonna come back and be awesome. And this is going to be like a ramp up. So I puncher's chance. I still believe in the Lakers a little bit.
Wow.
Wait, what happened when the Suns played the Lakers last year? I forgot. Oh, it was so long ago.
Anthony Davis was hurt. He got the injury out of the way. The injury's out of the way. I'm telling you, puncher's chance.
He's like Ben Stiller, and there's something about Mary. He rubs out the injury before the date to try to just get it out of the way before it actually matters. So here's what I think the storyline should have been with LeBron at All-Star Weekend. Now, I understand why they played it, how they played it, because they got 5 days out of attention. But like, I saw LeBron on Wednesday night against Utah. I brought my son and a bunch of his friends, and we went. And the Lakers were on autopilot for 3 quarters, and then LeBron got super excited because Aaron Donald was there on the side that they were playing on.
It was awesome.
And he was just like, oh, I'm going to put on a show for Aaron Donald. He was fucking awesome. And the fact that he can still do that at the age that he's at, it's like some Tom Brady shit. And, you know, to me, the better argument is the better topic is how long can he still reach into the LeBron chamber and grab performances like that? Versus like, where's he going next? Like, first of all, if I'm Cleveland, I don't know, do I want to pay LeBron max money when I have to pay Garland, when I have to pay Mobley, when I have this like really authentically built, awesome team that plays together? I'm going to bring LeBron and all of his superstar baggage into this beautiful thing that we created at this point in his career when over and over again, we've seen the old aging superstars when they're the last ones to realize it, which he's going to hit that point at some point in his career. And if I'm the Cavs, I'm like, do I need this? Do I want this?
So I'll give you a take. I'll steal a take from Nick Wright. Although since we're teammates on the show, I have proprietary rights over his takes when I go on another platform.
Fair.
No royalties, nothing. It's just all my take now. He made a good point that what put the Suns over the edge? Young team, good, but needed that veteran leadership, a guy who is theoretically past his prime, air quotes, and Chris Paul, and he got them to the finals. Think like that Tom Brady leadership for the Bucks. Like prior to the Super Bowl, he gave a speech. He was like General MacArthur in there. Like the Bucks, when they talk about the speech that he gave prior to the Super Bowl, like it sends chills down your spine. That leadership of like, trust me, guys, I know how to get to the finals. All of a sudden, like, maybe the Cavs aren't just like a frisky young team. Maybe they are a championship contender. So that's a Nick Wright take. Now you can strike through that. That is now my take. So I believe.
Well, Jacoby, first of all, Wilds thinks he invented the "I'm stealing my teammates" take thing. Jalen Rose not only invented that, he perfected it. He does the thing where he gives you credit for a couple weeks, then just takes it and then uses it against you, and you're like, "That's my take."
It's like he's trying to convince me of my own take. It's like what he's like. You know what's going to work with Brian Flores? Brian Flores is going to be a great college coach. Imagine when he's in the living room and he's talking to African American parents about he can stand up. I'm like, Jalen, you're trying to convince me about a thing that I literally said first.
And then he's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. You're right."
Works.
Yeah,
but I steal takes from him all the time. And also, I just want to say, what are we talking about? LeBron James going to Cleveland? Like he literally said he's going to stay in Los Angeles, play with his son, and go to Cleveland all in the same weekend. He's not going to go to Cleveland. He's not going to go back to Cleveland. He's going to stay on the Lakers. Like, what are we talking about?
Well, you know what we could be talking about. Get ready. Kyle's not here. I'll tell him to turn the camera on. It might be the best option for the Lakers to trade LeBron this summer. I'm telling you.
Now we're just now you were mad.
Now we're what? Now we're what?
Yes.
Now we're what? What are we doing?
I hate LeBron James. You just won't look at the mirror and say it.
No. If he's going to leave anyway, if you know he's going to leave, but if you think he's going to leave, would you rather trade him now and get something for him if you feel like LeBron plus Anthony Davis is just never going to be enough with how the league's gotten better? Are you just better off trading him? I don't think that's like a crazy question. That's a
crazy question.
I'm sure they're batting that around. Why? He's under contract for a year from now. They could trade him if they wanted to. Why?
Yeah, no, that's true. They can trade him if they want to. They don't want to, and they're not going to. LeBron James is not going to be traded. This all comes from a deep-seated thing that you have against LeBron James.
No, it doesn't.
Through everything you say in the microphone.
No, I'm asking if you're running the Lakers and you know you only have LeBron for one more year, what do you do with that asset? Do you just cross your fingers and hope you do well and then he leaves, or do you try to get something for him? It's not like you have any real loyalty to him. He's only been there for 3 years.
Of the 3 tradable assets that you'll get a serious return from to remake your roster, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James.
Westbrook's
I would say in that order. He's an expiring next year. You can trade him to someone who just wants to get him off the books or whatever, clear space for next year.
To who? You're getting somebody else's problem. You're getting like Tobias Harris back.
Listen, I've seen Russell Westbrook on this Lakers roster. I believed in it. I really did. Like around Halloween, I was all in. I was like, this is not just our Western Conference champion. This is our NBA champion. And here we are 3 months later. And I'm like, this is not going to work. It's never going to work. I'd rather have Tobias Harris. Like a 1-for-1 Tobias Harris from Russell Westbrook looks pretty good for the Lakers right now.
Yeah, but is that going to make that doesn't give them the title next year.
But you're trading LeBron.
Tobias Harris.
No. Let's get back to the original point. They're not going to trade LeBron James. They would never trade LeBron James. It's not going to happen. I'm putting that at 0% chance.
Zero.
I would not put that at 0%, especially because who is going to be loyal to him out of the inner circle? Pelinka, who they've already tried to undermine this weekend. The Bus family, what do they care? Like who else? Magic's going to protect them? I don't know. Wow. So, am I wrong to think the Lakers aren't necessarily going to be like, oh, we've got to do right by LeBron? This isn't like Kobe 2014. Where it's this guy's been here for 2 decades. This is our guy. He's going to be here till the bitter end. I don't think they feel that way.
If LeBron wanted to go, I think he would go. But I don't see the Lakers moving on from LeBron. And then what you're going to build, like the Lakers need to be relevant. when the Lakers aren't relevant, all of basketball just kind of deflates.
Okay, but they just traded 100 prospects and draft picks for Anthony Davis. He doesn't make you relevant. He's supposed to be like one of the best 8 guys in the league.
I just don't think you trade LeBron. That would be like letting Tom Brady walk. Who would ever do that? I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't think it would be a bad decision.
What if they lost in the play-in tournament?
Well,
like, what if they're the 9 seed and they just lose and they're not even in the playoffs? By the way, Jacoby's laughing, but this is a really realistic scenario. Right now, they're the 9 seed.
I'm laughing at you, Bill, because this is like a perfect storm topic for you. It's like Lakers falling apart. LeBron James doing things that you can criticize. It's just like, this is like a perfect intersection of all the circles of things you're interested in. Like, we're not going to move on from this topic for the next 45 minutes. Like, LeBron's gotten traded. LeBron ruined All-Star Weekend.
No, he didn't ruin it. He hijacked it
anymore. Yeah, he made it awesome.
Yeah, it's just like, Bill, what are we talking about here?
All right, I'll flip this around then, Jacoby. So we're just not allowed to criticize LeBron James ever. We just have to preach and bow to his altar. I'm just asking. Are we allowed to be critical? Are we allowed to be critical of athletes anymore and their choices?
Yes,
and the fact that he forced the Lakers to trade everything they had for 2 guys that now have made them, along with LeBron, a 9 seed. We're not allowed to criticize him for that, because I do think that they do not make those trades unless he wants them to do it. That's
absolutely 1,000%
I absolutely 100% feel that way, that's a fact.
Yes, and I believe that the Anthony Davis trade was great. They're up $1,000 at the blackjack table, and then doubled down.
No, you're right. They won a title. The whole point's to win a title. You're right.
Big. Yeah, it's just like, we won a title. This is it. You know what? I'll put my winnings up again, and they ended up back at square one. Like, the Anthony Davis trade played. It worked. And not only did they win the championship, like, don't forget how good Anthony Davis was in those playoffs and those finals. I thought they were going to win another championship as a duo for sure. Now I am not as sure.
Well, so now, Wilds, we're in the section of the LeBron, Anthony Davis part of this where everyone had an awesome time at dinner for 4 hours, ordered a couple extra shots, got the extra veal chop, even though everybody already had the entree. Just kept bringing the waiter back to order more stuff. And then the check came and everybody's now looking at the check going, oh shit, $2,300. Jesus, wait a second. How are we going to split this up? Oh, I brought $100. Can I use my credit card? Now everyone's arguing about how to split the check up. Are we there yet? Is this what has happened to the Lakers?
So here's the quick. So I think the basic question that you're trying to ask is this Lakers run of success over? And if it is that okay? Right? So the Lakers and the Celtics, Bill, to bring it to Jacoby's point, are like the 2 premier franchises in the league. The Celtics last won a championship in 2008. The Lakers just won. And it feels like there's so much pressure. Like, we need to win. The Lakers need to win. The Lakers need to be relevant. What are they doing this year to try to get to the finals? Meanwhile, on the other coast, it's been over a decade of just like, hold on, don't worry, things are coming together. So I think we got to meet in the middle. The Celtics need a little more urgency. The Lakers need a little more patience. Like, it doesn't have to be this year for me. If I was LeBron James, I've said this, I wouldn't shut it down if I was LeBron James, because I think it's the optics are bad, but I would twist that phrase. I would prioritize my long-term health and the success of the Lakers organization moving forward, AKA I'd shut it down. I would say, hey, if we're not winning a championship, what value is it for me to dive on the floor and put log up more minutes and for no point? And I granted, I say they have a puncher's chance, but I would consider shutting it down if I was LeBron.
Jacoby,
and by that I mean prioritizing himself.
I'm going to zag on that take in 1 second. We got to take a break. All right, coming back. Wild said LeBron should consider shutting it down.
Prioritizing his health.
So I actually disagree. I think the West is weak.
Oh.
And I would not shut it down yet. I
love this.
I
think he's been puncher's chance guy.
I'm in on the puncher's chance theory. I really am. And also, like, Wilds, I saw your clip you tweeted today from the show where you were talking about the difference between Jordan and LeBron, like how vast it actually is. Do you want to just give that quickly? Give the retake.
Sure. Okay, so everybody, basically the take is this. Jordan's 1, LeBron is 2. Some people will argue LeBron is 1, Jordan is 2, or it's close because LeBron went to so many finals. My take is this. If you had a guy, just a normal player, who had 9 scoring titles, 1 defensive player of the year, 2-time champion, and 2-time finals MVP. Is that anonymous player a Hall of Famer? And I think everyone's like, wow, 9 scoring titles, 2 championships,
2 finals MVPs. Yeah.
And a defensive player of the year. Like, wow, that is one. Not only is that person a Hall of Famer, that's one of the best players in the history of the game. That player is the gap between LeBron and Jordan. So you can say that it's close, and maybe one guy is 1, one guy is 2, but the gap between 1 and 2 is a Hall of Fame player, and not only a Hall of Fame player, a great player's entire career accolades. That is the gap. So that's the take. So that's why I think Jordan's 1.
Really good take. And my add to this from a LeBron standpoint will be, I think he needs more titles. I don't think he could just throw away seasons. I don't think, first of all, shutting it down, they don't have their pick anyway. It's not going to help them. So it's not like you're able to flip that pick. Now you could say you don't put the wear and tear on LeBron, but at this point, he's got the car that has 220,000 miles on it. Jacoby, I think the shut it down era of LeBron, he did in 2019. And he was hurt, but he also wasn't fighting to come back because that was a young team. They had no chance. This year, who knows? Chris Paul's going to miss 8 weeks. Who knows? Could Phoenix drop back to the pack? Could Golden State pass Phoenix for the 1 seed, even though they're 6 games back? After Memphis, I don't like any of the other teams. I think they're all flawed. You go Dallas, you go Denver, you go Utah, anybody else. Like, I wouldn't want to see LeBron and Davis. I don't even care who they're playing with. Just those 2 guys and 3 role players. Like, who knows?
This is delicious. And let me tell you why. Let's just go down this hypothetical highway, which is not that far from the real world. Chris Paul's out for 8 weeks, comes back literally 1 game 82. And then he's not himself. He hurts, he bangs into somebody, hurts that thumb a little bit. Draymond Green's got a back issue, which I don't have too much information on. I guess he's playing basketball. We don't know he's going to be back. But guess what? When your back hurts, your back can hurt again. So then you're basically taking out the 1 and 2 teams. Is there any other team in the Western Conference you would pick over the Lakers with a healthy AD, LeBron, Westbrook, Monk? Any other team in the Western Conference? Because I'm taking Draymond out and Chris Paul out because that could very realistically happen. Now I'm back in the Kevin Wilde's puncher's chance camp.
I'm in the puncher's chance camp from what I saw on Wednesday night, because especially the playoffs, when it slows down and you're in a 1-point game, 5 minutes left, I still want LeBron. And Jacoby said some very mean stuff about me earlier about how I'm biased against LeBron. I'm not. I just try to be a critical. I try to be a critical thinker. I'm sorry. I still feel like if it's a 7-game series and LeBron is on one side and there are close games and I'm watching that game and he's going against Ja Morant, as great as Ja Morant is, I'm still going to feel like LeBron is going to win unless Ja Morant proves me wrong. We just have such a reservoir of LeBron moments at this point. And you could feel it in the crowd. Like, I felt it Wednesday night. When he gets going, like, he does have a stranglehold over the game. There's this aura about him now. It's a little, wow, it's not to throw you some chum, but it's a little Brady-esque. It's a little
I think so.
Brady going against these dudes that grew up watching Brady, and there becomes this kind of, kid adult thing that starts happening where people are watching this going, holy shit, I was watching this guy do this 15 years ago. Now I'm on the court with him as he's doing it. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, the other thing that Nick says, that which is now one of my takes, is like the history of LeBron's feel-out game 1, and just shows that he's operating on a different level, I think, where it's like everybody else, like, oh, let's go, let's try to win. Like, let me just feel this one out. I'm not going to give it away, but it's more of just, it's like first dance at a wedding. Like, I'm not going to go out and he's not giving away a playoff game, but he's looking at the playoffs in totality on what it takes to make it to the finals, where I think the other strategy is to look at each game individually. I just feel like it's a little chess checkers with him.
Also, Jacobs, the Lakers, as much as I hate them and their fans, just as a Celtics fan, it's a good atmosphere. If it's a playoff series and you're down 3-2 and you're going there game 6 and they're all going nuts and LeBron hits a couple of those step back threes, like you're going to fucking feel it. If you're a young team, whether you're Memphis or you're Denver and you got guys like Monty Morris out there, people like that, you're Utah and you have like this obvious disadvantage with Gobert, who you can't really figure out how to play if you're playing the Lakers once they go small. Whoever it is, you are going to feel it. That's why I personally don't think they should shut it down. But I think it was the trade. Now, this trade got floated around. I forget whose idea it was. I apologize. I can't remember who suggested it on Twitter. But if they had done not just the Wall trade, but Eric Gordon was in it, and then I think it's worth giving up the 2027 number 1. I think that pick is really scary to give up. You don't know who's on that team 5 years from now, especially like to save some under 500 season. You're just throwing away more number 1 picks. I personally wouldn't have done it.
Wait, are you suggesting that a team in Los Angeles just kind of go all in and bring in stars to make a run at a championship, which is the most coveted thing in sport? You're saying that maybe they should be a little bit more cautious about that with the Los Angeles franchise.
I'm saying I was here. You were here for a part of it, Jacobs, during the dark years, those last 4 Kobe years.
Oh my God. The Kobe Achilles injury year and the Tarek Black year. yeah.
Listen, it happens to everybody, but there's nothing sadder than a starless Lakers franchise.